All right, Trez, good morning. Happy weekend. Connor, thanks for joining us again as well.
Thank you, Scotty. How are you?
I'm well, and guys, it is Sunday for the people that are on this side of the world here in Australia or surrounding areas. It's a lovely day here in Perth, and I hope everyone's having a good weekend. So, Connor and I were just discussing the charts a little bit and some possibilities. Um, the Aussie, obviously, we've probably mentioned this the last three episodes, maybe. I know at least two. So, finally, it sort of had a nice little, push higher, a significant one. But this is sort of, Connor and I were discussing, like you said, the candle is quite large, and with this, this is what's called a like a bearish kangaroo tail type setup. But like you said, Connor, so your concern here with this trade is it just because that engulfing candle is too large, and then the kangaroo tail that follows is sort of negated a little bit, so to speak. What's your take on that with
Yeah, so if you
selling?
think as a technical uh, setup, if
Mm,
you think that this kangaroo tail of the pin bar, this is a sign of rejection, which means that there could be a reversal, a bearish reversal downwards. However, because the candle next to it's so big in the
mm,
opposite direction, it hasn't really showed enough indecision from the market. That
yeah.
could just been a quick sell-off, and then it's going to go higher. If
Mm,
it had shown signs of exhaustion, so a few candles next to it are getting smaller and smaller, then that
yeah.
would suggest that it's looking to turn. But this doesn't really have enough data behind it to suggest that it's going to go any further downwards.
That's right. And another point, guys, for anyone who's sort of jumping in on a reversal, you've got to be mindful there's support here at 71.80 odd. So that's something else to take into consideration. So besides that candle, which to me does indicate we could see a bit of a rally. So just be careful, just piling in on a reversal, because it could pretty, and badly if you're just sort of doing that without any regard for for the technicals, for the picture that's being painted here. So I guess it sums up the Aussie right now. So would you maybe wait till mid next week to see if it does want to fail? It might rally a little bit and then see if it wants to turn potentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, just as a candle setup, that's not the greatest one if you just concentrate on
Mm,
specific candles. But if you look at the larger picture, like on the weekly, it's
yeah.
still really respecting that trend line. Like the trend line is really strong, and it's working
Yeah.
within that sort of band,
Mhm.
steeply
Yeah.
downwards. So it could be going further down.
Mm,
And like what's going on, because Australia's joined at the hip with China. So what goes
yeah.
on with China with the trade war
Mm,
and that sort of thing, where it would look to suggest like to have a bearish outlook on the Australian economy.
yeah. Yeah.
We were talking before that there has been some good data coming out with
Mm,
Australia's trade sort of surplus in the last quarter or so,
yep.
because our dollar's been so weak.
Yeah.
Uh, we've been able to sell a lot more, but still, it just doesn't look like it's going to be turning around, going up around. I couldn't see the a dollar getting to like 74 or 75
Yeah,
again in a long time.
that's right. Yeah, especially like if the midterms in the US go well, we could see US strength again. So, and with the trade war uncertainty, because it doesn't look like the trade war thing with China's, getting resolved anytime soon. Because, Donald's focused on, the midterms and all sorts of stuff. He doesn't seem really. I think he enjoys making China sweat a bit as well, and just, he seems to be a bit of a shrewd negotiator, to be honest.
Yeah.
So we could see this thing drag out for a little while longer. So, but I guess that's the Aussie guys. So again, it's either way, it's a bit iffy. Like, but from a weekly perspective, like Connor has said, definitely bearish outlook is still sort of intact for now. So I'll get the silver trade up here as well, Connor. Well, the silver chart, sorry, and we can discuss. And for anyone that did trade silver, it was a bit of a wow, yeah. So run us through the trade. What time frame did you enter on for
I
this
entered
one?
on the 4 hours.
Yep.
So I got stopped out heavily here, and this is what you gamble when you. I'm a glutton for this, I believe, on silver, because it's a manipulated market, gold and silver to an extent. But I was hoping I could ride one of the waves that the big investment banks were trying to make, but they fooled me. So I took it on the 4 hour, where you can see where there's that large bearish candle. Then there was a little indecision, that what I would describe as a box, and then that further move downwards. I got in as it moved downwards, and it started to go down quite well, and I thought, you beauty. And then, as you can see, I put my stop loss at 14.551.
Yeah.
And as you can see, it just busted through that like easily, and it's gone back up to, at one stage it went up to 14.89 an ounce. But
Jesus.
I'm actually bullish on silver, like a long way. Like if you look at the monthly chart, back in April 2000 around April 2011, it was got up to nearly $50 an ounce.
Yeah, it did.
And now it's it's at 14.55. It's possibly it's got to be one of the best buys of the decade, buying silver per ounce, physical silver. But this is all just the COMEX market. They're trading. For every 100 ounces that they trade, they've only got 1 ounce they can actually sell to you.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, they actually because we're in the COMEX market. They're actually the big people, the big players can actually trade and say, no, I want my silver. Yeah, they can trade their contract in. We can't. We're just on the paper market. I can't go to my broker and say, no, I want silver. But they don't have enough. They wouldn't have enough if everyone actually wanted to trade their silver in. People would be left out. A lot of people would be left out. So anyway, I was hoping I could take some advantage of some downward movement, and that didn't work at all.
It wasn't, because it was looking like it wanted to sort of roll over, so it was unfortunate. But again, guys, that's why you have good risk management. Like Connor and I have sort of discussed previously. You don't just sort of go in with no real plan and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to sell this and use margin or be reckless, because normally what happens is it doesn't work out and then you severely damage the account equity, and it just sort of causes some anguish, and then you probably don't want to trade anymore, which you got to give it time so you can actually learn and develop your system, and not just sort of go in and think quick money and all that sort of stuff. Now so that's the silver. So USD yen, I think we were talking about that before we started recording. So guys, this is an interesting chart here that Connor pointed out in earlier discussion. So was it the daily that you liked the look of? Or?
Yeah, I like the look of the daily. It had that quick move downwards, then just recently it busted above a zone. A support zone. Well, it's busted now. It's touched it down as a resistance zone. Now it's touched it down as support, and it's made a good sort of big engulfing candle. So I'd like to see what happens to that next week. However, trading on a Monday, as I've talked about before, and you've talked about, it's quite an iffy sort of process. So I'd just like to see what happens with it. See if I can get another signal to tell me that it's going upwards, then I might take it. Maybe on a 4 hour,
and just see
if there's any setup that I like. But
that's right. So later in the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, or something, to see, because on the 4 hour, it's interesting how it it definitely closed pretty well. The daily's good.
Yeah, the daily's good. The 4 hour isn't showing anything at the moment.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
The daily looks like it could it appears it wants to go higher.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
We'll
that's
see.
right. So that's another little interesting talking point there for anyone watching that market. And you do have the midterms to think about as well, guys. So um, that should be interesting to see what happens because everyone's sort of got their opinion on that. But you just sort of wait for it to pan out. But if you are a technical trader and you see a good setup, you should probably take that. And the stop loss is where the stop loss is at, and then you just sort of deal with what happens. Because normally, before big events happen, if you don't trade Monday, your setup usually doesn't happen because everyone's a bit cautious and things like that. So you probably won't see a great setup before a big event. So that's something to consider as well. It's just, if you do see something and it prints, you're like, well, that's good, and then you just sort of you take that and you risk money you don't really care too much about. Like it's not like you're gonna have to starve for that day or something. I mean, if you are doing that, then you probably shouldn't be trading with that money because that's not really what.
Yeah, I've always said eat
Yeah,
first.
that's a good rule in trade. That's right. Just
Yeah.
make sure you've got that covered. And yeah, but we're not. We've got a little bit of time. Was there anything else kind of that you've sort of seen that's semi interesting at all? Or
No, that's a lot for me at the moment.
yeah,
So
yeah, I agree. It's just. Yeah, we looked at the Euro guys, but that's just not. It's just so choppy, and you see all these opinions thrown around about this Brexit and everything like that, and it just changes on a week to week basis with negotiations. And you got Italy. I know the Italy thing's coming up as well because they had to um, rejig their budget proposal to the EU because they refused it before. So that could get interesting to see what the EU wants to do with Italy. So that's watch that space as
yeah,
well. So because
yeah, I think everyone's just still like everyone's going to rush to the. This is my sort of take. Everyone's going to rush to like fundamentally to the American dollar. That's the safe haven at the moment. I don't actually think it is a safe haven, but that's what people will of rush to in when there's economic turmoil. So I have just a bias, that fundamental bias that the American dollar is going to be strong until eventually, if everyone keeps defaulting, it'll collapse and silver will go back up.
That's right.
So gold, but yeah, we'll see what goes on.
It does. Well, I guess that sums it up pretty well, guys. So no, fantastic setups, but a little bit to watch. And kind of thanks for joining us again. Much appreciated.
All right, thanks,
See
Scott.
everyone. Bye for now.